Yeah, she did. Yeah. So we're back here. We've got Cameron back from Cam and K again.
Hey.
We had some issues last time, so we're gonna run this thing again.
Okay.
I was informed not to talk as much this time around, so apparently that's not how interviews work.
Did she like the last one?
She did. Yeah, she did like it. She just said I talked too much. So we've got a great interview coming up for you guys. You know, hit that like button, subscribe if you feel like it. Definitely go over to Cam and K's page and subscribe. They do a great reaction channel. I really like it. We'll get that linked in when we send this thing up.
For sure.
So I guess we just start again. So you guys started a reaction channel just because you wanted to do a little something on YouTube, kind of turn it into a little side hustle. You want to tell people about that again, right quick?
Yeah. We started YouTube because oh, come on, Kay. Like, what's the reason we started YouTube? I know we started it to have fun at first, and then it became something like where we can like bring people together on the platform. Yeah. So like, yeah, we then we realized like you can make some money off YouTube too. So
right.
I mean, but it was more fun at first. Well, still is, still about fun.
Well, anytime you can generate revenue with fun, that's always a good thing.
Right. Yeah.
That's cool. You guys have been doing this about how long now? How long? When did you start your channel?
We started our channel in March of 2019. We didn't post anything for a year because we were researching everything we could about it before we hopped into it. And then we started in March 2019. So we've been doing it for like 2 years.
Wow.
We don't have any uploads though in March. Our first upload was in January 2020. Yep. Right before Corona hit.
Nice. Well, yeah. I mean, in a way, that kind of works out for you guys. There are a lot more people at home.
It did. I think it's why our channel grew as fast as it did.
Yeah. So you mostly, from what I've seen, you do a lot of rap and stuff like that. You guys ever think about delving out into other stuff?
Oh, for sure. Like we got to come up with an area where people can put their suggestions, because we lose them. There's so many. We lose them. There's so many. It's like, oh my goodness. But most people just suggest rap, so we just try to do what the audience wants. But like if there's other things people want, we'll definitely do it.
But you guys, you don't have a website or anything?
Oh no, not yet. We have an email, but we need to build a website.
You might start putting your email out and people can send requests to that. That way you don't lose them.
Yeah, we could do that. Cause we sent them from our we said on Facebook, not Facebook. We said on YouTube, go to our email. Then we said go to our Instagram, and I mean they did both. So it was like, oh man.
I have Instagram, but I've never liked Instagram. Like it's just it doesn't. I don't know. There's something about the platform I'm not a big fan, and I don't know. I feel like it also got worse after Facebook bought it. So I'm like, I don't even use it really anymore. But so we had a conversation, obviously, about some of your political thought process. We touched on religion there at the end. We might do that again. I don't know, but from a political standpoint, so a couple of things have happened since last time we talked. One, they passed that $2 trillion coronavirus thing, I guess, through the Senate and the House, and now it goes to Biden. I don't know if you have any insights on that, if you even have read any of it or know what's going on with that.
I will say this is the only part of that made it that was a little weird to me. Well, I mean, the whole stimulus thing in general, the whole stimulus thing in general is needed, but I do think it was weird that I did research a little bit on like when it was passed. I think Biden signed it into law, and I researched that none of the Republicans voted with it, and I thought that was kind of weird. Why didn't they vote?
No, they didn't. Every one of them voted against it. I believe even in the U.S. Senate they voted against it.
Why? The bill was to help the people, wasn't it?
Well, sure. I mean,
right.
I think what it comes down to is they do this stuff with these stimulus checks. This is my opinion. Okay. They go, well, don't you care about the people? We want to send them $1,400. Okay, but if you take 1.9 trillion and you equate that to 330 million people in this country, that'd be $5,645 a person. So it's basically like a payday loan. It's like, where's money going?
Yeah.
So, you know, I think the Republicans are going, why are we sending? One of the things I know, I believe it was Senator Rand Paul, had tried to put an amendment in that stated I think there's $130 billion for schools, that would be required for them to actually open.
Oh, yeah.
And all the Democrats voted against that. And I think most of it's just tribal, honestly. It's like, this is a Democrat plan, we're Republicans, we can't support it. But I think there's a lot of garbage in it, just like there's a lot of garbage in the last one and the one before that. Because I think they see it as a good shopping spree opportunity in all of government. You know
I agree.
what I mean?
I agree.
So,
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I don't like the idea of things like that being passed when it's completely just one-sided. Like, you couldn't get one. They just passed today. The House of Representatives passed HR 8, which is a really bad against guns bill. Like, they're coming after guns. It's a slow burn, but that's the intent. And they got Republicans to vote for that.
Wow.
Like,
wait, how? Wow. How?
I don't know, man. there's no telling.
Whoa, what did they say in that? What does it say in the bill? What's it about?
They present it as mostly that it just causes universal background checks, that no person would be able to transfer a weapon as a private individual without going through, you know, background check, whoever's buying it or receiving it. They're saying it's closing the Charleston loophole, but I mean, I don't know. You know, we discussed my thoughts on the Second Amendment, that I think every single law is unconstitutional. So
for sure, you want to go back into that?
I mean, if you want to, sure. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts on things, like not my thoughts. So
well, yeah, I mean, definitely. Like, I mean, we could go back and forth too. I mean, because it'll make the conversation a little more. Chup wants to see.
What's up, little man? What's up? Check it out. Interview just got better. Hi. How are you?
Good.
That's excellent.
Yeah. No, I agree with you a lot with your last stance when you said the Second Amendment. I do think it was interesting. Like when you did say you didn't think background checks, you didn't want background checks either.
I think they're an infringement.
Yeah, I think that was the only part I think I disagree with you on, only because of the craziness in people, certain types of people. But I can see where you're coming from, where you say everybody has a gun, so it will make it less, make people more afraid, if that makes any sense.
Well, I think if everyone had the ability to protect themselves, it'd make them feel safer, because they would be overall.
Right. Like in Switzerland.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's, you know, you hear about these countries that have really, really strict gun laws, or states in our case, you know, cities like Chicago, and they have these horrifying crime rates, violent crime. But then you take a country like Switzerland, or you take a state like South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, and they don't have those issues. Even in their more populated areas, they just don't. And I think it comes down to, I mean, are you brave enough to break into someone's house in the middle of the night in Billings, Montana? Because if you are, you're dumb.
Yeah, everyone's armed there.
Yeah, you're gonna get shot.
Right. Is it difficult in California to buy a gun? I can't remember.
Yeah, and they've consistently made it harder and harder. You know, it's time consuming. It's expensive. There's a lot of licensing required. You know, and I think another problem really that we have is that we don't have. Every state has their own laws. You know.
Right.
It's not uniform across the country of what it is. So you can, for instance, have a concealed carry permit, and it'll be good for you. I believe, like one from New Mexico would be good for like 28 states. Okay. But if I was to drive into New Jersey with concealed carry, that's an automatic felony just for having it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, I think it's problematic.
Yeah. They don't have anything internationally like that, you know. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of federal laws that are, as far as they cover the entire country, but as far as concealed carry, open carry, magazine capacity, those kind of things. A lot of states are just doing that on their own. There's no argument. My only thing here is that, well, first of all, I think all gun laws are unconstitutional. I believe that. But I think that if you are going to have anything, it needs to be a nationwide standard. Arizona shouldn't be passing their own gun laws. California shouldn't be passing their own. They should say, they have a House representative members. They can go to them and say, hey, we need a nationwide standard.
Agreed.
And they can make their argument. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Because we might be different states, but since I'm not getting balkanization at any point, we are one nation. And when it comes to constitutional things, it should be one size fits all rules. You know what I mean?
I agree.
One of the things that I've noticed since George Floyd, I know that's still real touchy for people, and I guess they just started jury selection for Derek Chauvin, the officer involved that knelt on Floyd until his death.
Okay.
A lot of states are starting to increase what they constitute hate crimes. What are your thoughts on that in general?
You said a lot of states are doing. Guys, seriously, be quiet. Sorry. You said what was the question?
They're trying to increase penalty and the expansion of what they call hate crime laws. What dictates a hate crime? And as a black man in America, what are your thoughts on hate crime? Like in general?
That's a good question. So when they do that, I'm not trying to ask questions for questions, but I really haven't studied that, to be honest. So I'm wondering, like, when they do that, what are they talking about? Hate crimes? Is it only like white on black, or is it black on black?
Generally, it's almost all of them are specific about either white against any minority or like male against female situation. But yeah, it's not designed in both directions.
Yeah, then that's not fair.
Right. I mean, I agree, but
I mean, that's because I think I read something on it with like where they're trying to do something about hate crime. But I mean, like, my question would be, I don't know. My question to that would be like, how would you do that? How would you mandate people? And how would you do that? Like, you can't categorize people, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So if that makes any sense, yeah, you can't categorize people. So I don't think, like, I don't know how that would even work, to be honest.
I don't know. I mean, I know they have hate crime laws. A lot of places do about, and I guess the idea is to protect minorities or to protect gay people, things of that nature. And it really just comes down. I mean, originally, I guess it came down to what was your reason for the harm that you caused, and if it was based on one of these situations and the crime was more severe, which I just find a problem with that argument. I don't think there's any way to make that fair.
Right.
Because I think I don't know that your reason that you commit the crime matters as much as the fact that you did.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that's a good point. That's an excellent point. I mean, what would they do? Would they give people who do hate crimes the death penalty? I mean, like, what would they do? And
it's possible in some states, yes.
But I thought that they were already like really strict on hate crimes. Remember the lady that was I think it was a lady and a guy. They rode by some kid's birthday party or something like that and was shouting like racial epithets towards the kid. Didn't they get like 45 years in prison?
I don't know. I have never heard about that before.
Yeah,
I mean, it sounds about right depending on where they might be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How much more stricter can you get on it? You know what I mean?
I don't know. Like, it seems to me that I often think that it's reactionary.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's them. They want to say, "Look, we're doing this thing," but even if that thing doesn't make any sense,
yeah, I agree.
They don't have to explain themselves.
No,
I actually personally am of the opinion. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Do we have too many laws?
Yeah. Yes. I was actually just talking to a friend of mine at work about this. So me and him looked up how many law books you have to read going to law school, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just ridiculous the amount of law books you had to read. And not only that, it was ridiculous about how many law books there are. I mean, there's laws that don't even make any sense. Like right. We found a law in Ohio, and like anybody can find this too. There was a law in Ohio that says you're not supposed to wear. It was like wear a skirt a certain length, and it was like a crazy low amount. Like it wasn't like, you know how girls wear them to their thighs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this was like to your legs. Like you're not supposed to wear it to your legs at a certain point. It was some stupid kind of law like that.
Wow.
I mean, it was like we were just finding like dumb laws throughout Ohio and throughout the state, and I was like, wow, like. And think about it, like we're supposed to know all that as citizens. So I think like,
yeah, because they say ignorance is no excuse.
Yeah, I like what you said the first time. Destroy it and rebuild it, because this doesn't. All this stuff doesn't make any sense at this point now. Well, not all of it. Some of there are laws that make absolute sense, but some of it is just like it seems like they're just trying to pound more on and pound more on and pound more on, just like in the stimulus bills.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there was a video that I watched one time, and I can't remember. It may have been on YouTube. I'm not 100% on that, but it was a person. Well, his entire team. They were trying to find out how many laws exist in America between village, city, county, state, and federal, and they could not come up with a number. It was in the millions, but they couldn't find a legit number.
Right.
And it's everything from like that, the length of a skirt, to you're not allowed to have a donkey in your bathtub, to it's just insane that you think. I mean, I can maybe in a way you can like look at history and go, okay, they probably made this law for whatever reason, but it's nonsensical now. Why don't they ever get rid of them? And I think I wonder about like there's a very famous quote from a sheriff, I believe in Nebraska, where they asked him, are there too many laws? And he said, I would say yes, because you show me the person and I'll show you the crime. And I'm like, well, that's terrifying,
Yeah.
So sticking to that a little bit, obviously, well, I mean, at least in my opinion, from a political standpoint, I don't know I've ever seen the country as at each other's throat as they are right now. It's amazing the things that if you disagree with someone, you'll get called racist for now. So I'm like, it doesn't even mean anything anymore. People are like, oh, okay, whatever, Yeah. Is there, in your mind, in your opinion, is there a way out of that?
Yeah. I think if both cultures come together and understand each other, and I know that's like, a repetitive thing people have consistently said, but I think if black people understood where white people were coming from and white people understood where black people were coming from, I think we could eliminate a lot of this, a lot of race talk. I think we could realize that we're all Americans and we're all fighting for the same thing. If we could realize where everybody's coming from with everything. Like just the other day, I can't say where on here, but there was a place I was at and two guys were debating, and it was a white guy and a black guy. And like the black guy was saying that slavery happened and there was no payment for slavery and
no reparations.
No reparations. No, I mean, just anything. Like it was like the black people were just released and told, figure it out. Yeah.
Just quick, I hate doing this, but just quick, there was a Union general that did attempt to pay a form of reparations, because he was of the mindset that you can't just take these people and throw them off the only thing they've known and just hope that they make it. He wanted to give them 40 acres and a mule, and he actually started to do it. And then Lincoln put a squash to that.
Wow.
People don't know that.
I didn't know that. Wow, that's crazy.
But you were saying they were having this debate that
so they were having a debate, and like, oh, okay, I'm one of them type people that see the world like Tom McDonald in a way. Like I just can hear both perspectives. So like he's speaking, black guy speaking, he's saying, yeah, like he's saying like, this happened, there was no payment for it, and white people should have to should have to do something for what their ancestors have done to black people, right? So then the white guy fired back at him and said, I didn't do that. I specifically didn't do that. I specifically didn't do that. And I'm telling you to fuck off if you're telling me that I have to. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. That word we're okay with.
Okay. So he said, I'm telling you to F off if you're telling me that I have to pay for something I had nothing to do with.
Right.
And who's really wrong there? You know what I mean? Who's really wrong? Like he's right. He had absolutely nothing to do with what happened. And there are still a lot of things that are happening systematically in the system that affect, I will say, all people. Somewhat Black people more in a way, but all people. But for what happened so long ago, you can't just keep, I think by us consistently bringing it up over and over again, by using like, okay, because you have a different of opinion from me, you're racist, it's not moving the conversation any forward. It's not helping anything. It's just making us all go backwards. It's dividing us probably even more. Like I think it is. I think like, you know, like I was just another conversation I had with another friend of mine where we were talking about how do you make someone less white? I just
we got to ask Coca-Cola.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's just like, I think those talking points are like, and then like when I actually heard, before, you know, last time we had this conversation, I actually listened to somebody named Charlemagne the God, and he kind of explained it. He was saying that like when you're in the workplace, you know, basically just have more sympathy for minorities in the workplace because they're going through a lot, just like, you know, they just want to be considered equal. That, I mean, that's noble, you know what I mean? But it's like, you said you're telling them to be less white. If you're telling them to be more sympathetic, that's one thing. But you're telling them to be less white. Look at the talking point. You know what I mean?
That seems really racist.
Yeah, that's a terrible title. And I mean, I would debate anybody in my community on that. Anybody. Yeah. Like that title is horrible. That would debate like that. I mean, that title was horrible. I mean, just if you're telling people to be more empathetic towards women, minorities, everybody, just say that. Just say be more empathetic, and we can do that. I mean,
my outlook is when I see that, and why I think it's super racist is because when you say be less white, and that means these things, be more empathetic, be more caring, be more understanding, that to me is like you saying that the minority communities aren't that. And by you know, and I'm like, that's crazy to me. I don't understand that. I understand your conversation, or your overheard conversation, I guess, eavesdropping. I like it. What are your personal thoughts on reparations? And if you think that part of me thinks that maybe we need to figure out a way to run a reparations program, if for no other reason than to stop that talking point.
I think it would be very divisive, and I don't think it can even be done. Because I mean, how do you find?
Does that mean we shouldn't try?
I mean, I don't think we should. I think that we should leave it where it is. I mean, because again, I'm going to another friend of mine, and he basically got, not that he didn't get a degree in history, but he basically went to school for some type of historical thing. And he was studying like you know, slavery and some of the families that benefited off of the slave trade. You know, it's like some of those families are not even in existence anymore.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And like,
they're all gone.
Yeah, a lot of them are all gone. But there are some that are still left, but they're not really benefiting off of slavery anymore. So it'd be really hard to be able to pinpoint who would have to pay for that. So literally, but in all honesty, we'd be literally saying that white people that literally did have nothing to do with it would be having to pay for it. And I could be wrong. I mean, maybe I'm looking at something the wrong way. Somebody in the community will probably debate me on that, but that's what I got from it. What we were trying to find a way to, like, if it was even possible, and it's not possible. So the conversation, I think, like, isn't beneficial. I think
I heard an argument one time that said, though, many families that benefited back then from slavery are no longer, they're all gone, they're dead.
Yeah.
But that there are a mass amount of corporations. I think there's like 31 international corporations that all started in America that did benefit from slavery, and that there might be an argument that that people that come from families of slaves, if they can prove that lineage, would have maybe a pretty good argument for a legal action against those corporations to be reimbursed, essentially, for damages done to their family.
Yeah, okay, then that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. Yeah, so I mean, then maybe there is a way. I mean, but like, let me ask you, Do you think those corporations couldn't fight that?
Oh, I don't think that the people that filed the suit would stand a snowball's chance in hell.
You see what I'm saying? So
But
it's
I think it's an interesting conversation to be had.
yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, like I get the point. Yeah, I didn't know that. Really didn't know that. I didn't know that companies benefited off of it. Yeah, well then.
Well, most of the major banks that are still in operation did. J.P. Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they all did. I mean, they basically were the transactors. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah, they would get interest. You could use your slaves as collateral for a loan against them, and they would generate interest off your slave, essentially.
Oh wow. Yeah, within knowing that, I see now, like I got to look more into it now. Like, I guess, yeah, like it could be a topic of conversation.
And I think, I mean, here's my thing with it. First of all, I'll never disagree with reparations and what I mean by that is they should have been paid.
Okay.
And it would have been much easier, obviously, back then. But it's not just the slavery thing that causes the issue in my head. It's also segregation, Jim Crow, redlining.
Yeah.
All of these things have consistently put these minority communities at a disadvantage. And just because the law now says you're not allowed to do it doesn't mean that the damage wasn't done.
Yeah, for sure.
And so when someone says, well, there is you're right. Like who pays? Who gets paid? Because not every black person in America came from a slave.
Right. And this too, like, let me ask, like, and let me drop something else on you to make you think about it. In my opinion, I don't think the black community, in my opinion, being from the black community, I don't think the black community would benefit from reparations, just getting handed money. You know what I mean? Like you said,
that's not the kind of reparations I would support.
Right, me either. You know, there's been so much psychological damage that's done that there's actually a rewiring of the brain that needs to happen in some way. So like, I mean, and I people always say like it's out there, but I looked myself and they said like I couldn't really find loans that were for, blacks. Like people say like they say there's plenty of loans for people who are minorities, and I'm like I don't know, I just couldn't find any. But and maybe I'm not looking hard enough, maybe whatever it is. But like I think if there was a payment, I think it would be schooling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Schooling.
Like I always thought tax you could use a tax situation to really help them out. Like don't make them pay taxes for 10 years, like at all. Any kind of tax. Give them literally a tax-free card. They don't even pay sales tax, and then they can take that money that they save, turn that into possibly opportunity for the future.
But think about this too, because let's think about it from the other side now. The other side is going to say, well, what about me? I need that. Actually, me and Kayla, actually, I'm not going to say who, but we had a conversation with somebody like that before. And we were talking about I was saying like, if there was one way we could probably help the black community, because they're the most behind in this country, literally behind almost all groups. So I was saying like maybe we could just, find a way to get them college so that they can go to college instead of just giving them money, because money's not going to do anything, but money's not, all they're going to do is spend. It's going to be spent, and it's not going to hold any benefit at all. But
I made a joke with one of my friends that you're going to see a whole bunch of Rolexes, and I'm going to be able to buy them for pennies on the dollar in months.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So like instead of just giving them money, like actually give them the freedom to go get an education, and don't say it's in a loan or anything like that.
No, just give it to them.
Yeah, just go to college. Go to college and find something you like, find a trade. But again, that's one of the I don't know if you're going to agree with this, but that's one of the talking points. I think the saying is called the rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
And I feel like if college is ridiculous. The amount of money that people pay to go to college is absolutely ridiculous. So in a sense, I think like if there's a way we could do it for everybody, that'd be very beneficial.
Yeah, I just don't know that's affordable or even a good idea for the entirety of society and economics. I think you need the mechanics, you need the plumbers, you need the electricians. These people don't go to college. Some of them may go to trade school. A lot of them just do internships. That's how they learn their trade.
Right.
I think I like your thinking. I like the idea of them having the opportunity to go to college, but I don't think that it should be any easier than if they had to pay. I still think they should have to get the right test scores, because otherwise, what are you doing? You're just sending them there for no reason.
Yeah, you're just throwing them in a place where they're gonna fail.
Yeah, and I don't like that idea. And I really don't like what they're doing now, where they're lowering they're saying, well, because of systemic racism, now we're going to lower the SAT scores and stuff for particular communities. And I'm like, you're still putting them in a situation where they're not going to succeed.
Exactly. Yep.
In fact, more so now.
Yeah, I agree. Like Candace Owens actually said that. She said that. And I was like, wow, she's actually right. I think it was in the book from Thomas Sowell. I think that was his name. Where he was talking about how they're sending kids, they're using affirmative action to send kids to college that they're using
there.
Yeah, they don't belong there. Right. So like they're not even intelligent enough to be in that college, and it's not being racist at all. It's just saying like the blacks that go to these specific colleges are not intelligent enough, so most of them are failing. So It's like, and my theory on it would be, I mean, ground zero, like, teach them everything teach them everything. But I don't know. I see, like, this is really hard to think about, because it's like, how would this work?
The person has to put in the effort no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. And
I would say that if they put in the effort, first of all, this is what I would say. College applications, I don't think any application should ask your race ever.
Mm-hmm.
The standard should be the same across the board, and then you can maybe have opportunities that move from there forward. You know what I mean? But what are your thoughts on affirmative action?
I think it's ridiculous. I think I get why it came into existence, but the statistics on it and how it hasn't really helped at all proves that it actually does. Well, I get why it happened. I get why they created it, because at the time, minorities weren't able to go to the same schools.
It was an anti-racism situation.
Yeah, they weren't able to go to the same schools as whites because of lynching, stuff like that. So I understand why it came into existence. But it hasn't benefited us. So like some of the things that haven't benefited us, like, why haven't we reevaluated and done something about? And I think that's why I like the Black conservative. I love the idea of the Black conservative, because it brings attention to the community in areas where we really do need attention. We're just not trying to focus too much on,
right.
Like if you really look at the statistics, like with police brutality, I mean, and I know I'm going to catch hell from some people in my community for saying this, but the police kill us a lot less than we kill each other. So, yeah. I mean, and again, I know I'll catch hell in the community for saying that, but it's true. They kill us a lot less than we kill each other. Yet the media publicizes police killings minorities more often. You know what I mean? Police killing minorities more often. And like we said last time, we talked about this last time. I mean, it's across the board how the system treats everybody.
Yeah.
It's across the board.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It doesn't matter. I consistently, and I maintain this, and I don't care who it upsets, that we don't have a race problem. We have a class problem. But unfortunately, the higher class now, the elitists, are they're turning it into a race problem, like legit. And I think they're kind of doing it on purpose.
Oh yeah.
So let's I know that we kind of touched on it last time, that you're not, well, I don't think you ever said, and you don't need to, Republican or Democrat. I think like me, you're like, yeah. But one thing I will say is that Black people, especially, they check that D when they vote without, in my personal opinion, no reason. In fact, all the evidence indicates that they really should just go, wing it and check another box, just because Democrats have run a lot of these major cities for decades and decades and decades. Right. They consistently, they're the ones that scream, oh, Republicans are racist, don't vote for them, they don't care about you. Mm-hmm. And then they get elected, they use the Black vote to get elected, and then it's like, thanks, and they completely ignore the Black community. Yeah. Is this the Republicans' fault?
You said, is that the Republicans' fault?
Yeah, because are they not messaging correctly? They're not reaching out and messaging?
I will say this: it feels like Republican talking points, and this is just feelings. You know what I mean? And this is feelings from other blacks from what they say. It feels like the Republican community really doesn't not necessarily like black people, but really care about anything that has to do with black people. Yeah. There really is no strong plan when they're talking, if that makes any sense. But neither is there Democrats. But Democrats mention black people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They go like, hey, we care about your problems. We do. We see them. We hear them. And, again, it's a rallying cry to get people to vote for them. And this is why I say I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, because once you buy into the party, that's when you get into the stereotypes, if that makes any sense. I think both of these parties, I just think both of these parties are the problem. I think like the solution would be an independent party, libertarian party, something different.
Right.
Let's just try something different. These people have been in charge for over 150 years and nothing has.
And it's only getting worse.
It's only getting worse. And you know what I mean? And it's that's part of the problem. I think that's the most divide. I think that's the only reason there's still a race conversation.
Right.
I really do. I really think the parties are the reason.
Oh, I agree with you. One of the things that I did notice, and this is, it's statistically easily found, Donald Trump's support from minority communities doubled.
Yep.
From when he was voted for in 2016 till 2020. I guess it was like the largest increase in minority support of any Republican ever.
Yep.
Was that messaging, or was because he would consistently say that they had the lowest black unemployment rate, they had the lowest Hispanic unemployment rate, wages were going up, people were doing better. Is that what did it, or was it people just saying, well, everyone hates him so much that maybe we should just give him a go?
Yeah, I think to be honest, I really don't know. Because I thought that the media had people convinced that he was racist. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I really don't know. That's a good question. Like, that's a really good question. But I do think that showed that a lot of black people are starting to kind of see through the media a little bit. Right. I mean, because that wasn't. I mean, it was kind of a conversation before Donald Trump got elected, but it wasn't as harsh as it was when he got elected. And I know
the word racist gets thrown around a lot every 4 years, a lot more than it usually. Although this time around, it's just never stopped. But usually it stops right after the election, and it's not stopping this time. I'm guessing that's probably a bad thing.
Yeah, I wonder do you ever wonder what the next election is going to be like, though? Because see, Biden, let's say you can't say that about every Republican candidate. So if Trump's not running this time, what are you going to say?
They have. It's never not been different my entire life. Every Republican, the mainstream media says they're racist every time. Bush, Mitt Romney, John McCain, every single one of them in my lifetime, they're the most racist, not a racist, the most racist. So it's like, I almost feel like the Republicans for 2024 need to find the blackest person they can find. They grew up in a ghetto and be like, yeah, call him racist. Which I bet you they would.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I would like the Libertarian Party to start reaching out to the minority communities a lot better than they do. Their messaging, in my opinion, is trash. But I think they could really get a lot of people that are like yourself, that are just they look at both parties and go, what are you people doing? Libertarians need to speak directly to these communities that are being just left in the dust.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let me ask you a question, okay? So the GOP, if you look at the whole line, it's all white men, right?
Well, not as much. It's not nearly as bad anymore as it used to be, but yeah, there's a lot of white people in there.
But it's still dominantly white men.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that's a problem?
No.
Right.
No, I don't see it as a problem, because I think it's
Well,
I don't think Republicans are trying to get minorities.
Yeah, let me rephrase the question. I don't mean to ask it was a problem. Do you think that could be why minorities think that the Republican side doesn't really mess with them because most faces they see are white?
I think so.
Yeah.
But also, I don't think Republicans are good at. There are a lot of black senators and Congress people, and in state legislatures, there's black and brown people in the Republican Party all over.
Yeah, for sure.
Ben Carson was the Secretary of Health and Human Service, or one of them. I don't know what it was. Whatever. Trump actually put a lot of black people in his cabinet and stuff, but I think the issue is Republicans. I think they're caught in a trap in that situation. They don't want to put them forward and be like, look, we're not racist, obviously, because I think they know the other side will say, well, those are just tokens. And they don't want it to look like that's what it is. But I think the message, so what? Make them tokens. It doesn't matter. If it brings support and it gives these people, where they can say, hey, there's opportunity in this party for me too, and my community, then it doesn't matter. You're going to need a couple tokens to get the message across.
Right.
But I don't think Republicans, I think they're terrible at messaging, mostly.
I think the Democrats are.
The Democrats seem to get a whole bunch of support for a party that said, oh, all the Republicans are racist, and then you elect a half-dead 85-year-old white dude that's...
Yeah, but look at Democratic talking points. Like, one of them, like the whole idea of become less white. That's not you can't. And again, I get what they're trying to say when they say become less white, but how do you sway an audience of white people by telling them to be less white? You see what I'm saying?
It seems to be working for them.
Well, reverse it. Like, what if I said be less black?
Good luck.
You know what I mean? Like how does that, that wouldn't sway anybody.
That is something Candace Owens would say.
Yeah, you see what? Yeah. Well, probably she would. That is something she probably would say. But I'm just saying, like, how do you come together on something like that? That's ridiculous. And I think anybody
I don't know. And I don't think they're ever going to get any moderate white people to be like, oh yeah, you're the party for me when you're saying stuff like that.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So, and anybody in their right mind, you know what I mean? Like, that's like when women say this. When women say every male benefits from the patriarchy. All males benefit from the patriarchy. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, what patriarchy am I benefiting from? I'm not part of the 1%. I don't make half of the decisions that, make the laws happen in this country. You know what I mean? Those are the billionaires.
Yeah.
And even in them, I mean, there are woman billionaires. So are they part of the patriarchy too? You know what I mean? Like, think about it. It's just.
I saw a thing from Ingram X Kennedy. I'm probably getting that wrong, but I believe that's his name, where he said he was asked who is, because of the patriarchy and the structure, he was asked who's in a worse situation, a homeless white person or Oprah, and he said Oprah. And I was like, why does anyone take this person serious?
But do you see how that can get? Like, it's like, what are you, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't grab men. You can't grab men to help your talking point if you're saying we're all evil. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they're gonna be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Did you see that Gillette commercial?
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't know who that marketing team was, but wow.
They were all feminists.
You're selling a product to men, and you try to sell it to them by telling them you're all horrible and should basically be lit on fire. I didn't understand that one ever. Like, no one in that boardroom went, I don't think this is a good idea. No one?
Right. Probably nothing but women. Oh, no, I think this is great. Men should learn their privilege. They should learn. See, look.
You know what men learned? Don't buy our product.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely, looked at Gillette different.
Yeah.
I definitely looked at Gillette different. I think, we need to stop amplifying. That's another thing I think that we could do. You know what I mean? If we stopped this is the thing I really think could be another solution. Like, see, like, in that specific area, they amplify all the most negative qualities of men and put them on media for everyone to see, right? What if we took the best qualities of whites, blacks, men, women, Asians, Indians, anybody, like, and amplified them and made them like, that's what people see.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? This is the example of how to be this type of person. You know what I mean?
I remember growing up, and you would have shows like Home Improvement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Family Matters, same
Mm-hmm.
network. You get this white family, you get a black family. They're all basically, they would highlight a lot of what they have in common. They would also highlight where there's some differences or whatever between the two.
Right.
Now, it's a whole different situation. You turn on TV and like, if you can't put a white family on TV anymore, they will freak out, because you're not showing enough diversity or whatever. And I'm thinking, I don't understand that. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it's getting the message across they want it to get across. I think it's just dividing us further.
Yeah, for sure. We need everybody to be able to see all the positive qualities in all communities, and that way we can actually move forward. Because I think the problem is we're being bombarded with hate.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom McDonald kind of touches on that a lot in his videos, and I was like, oh my God, this is what I love this guy for, because he's saying that we're being bombarded with hate. I said this to somebody the other day, and I think I'm going to write this down in a book someday, that we're all victims to misinformation.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah, we are.
All of us. We're all victims to misinformation. We're all getting told, I was talking, and I don't want to say the name, but another person, I'm trying not to say too many names on here.
I got it.
He was being personal with me when he was telling me that his dad was racist, but he told me why his dad was racist. And he said it wasn't because he just hated black people. And he said, honestly, he doesn't even know for sure if his dad was really racist. He just felt like his dad was racist because some stuff his dad would say.
Mm-hmm.
His dad said, black people are dirty. They'll destroy your communities. And this was a talking point that happened a lot in the 1920s. You know what I mean? Around the 1920s. Yeah. And that was passed on to him, which was passed on to this guy I know, right?
Right.
But this guy I know is not passing that to his son. You see what I'm saying? Because
that's a cycle. You got to break the cycle.
Right. But it's not even because it's not because it's because of how society is moving forward. Like he's seeing that, there are good black people out there. Not all black people are stupid. Not all black people are like going to burn down their community or do stuff like that. That's what, like, in his mind, he was like, okay, so I'm going to teach my son the opposite. And now his son is totally different. His son is incredible. His son is an incredible human.
Yeah.
And it's just a rewiring. Yeah, it's just a rewiring of all our thoughts. Like, we all are, like, black people are conditioned to believe in the boogeyman.
Well, I think people in general are conditioned to believe in a boogeyman. And I think the media decides who's the boogeyman now, and they shove that narrative. And I don't know why they do. I honestly don't know if it's for money, if it's just to get people to engage, or if it's because they believe it and they want to, in their way, fix it, but it's not fixing it. It's making things a lot worse, I saw a headline, an article. I want to ask you about this.
Yeah.
And it said that if a straight man refuses to date and or sleep with a trans woman, that he's transphobic. And I saw that, and I tweeted about it, and I said that the entire country is going through straight conversion therapy.
No, man. Oh my God. And look, what you do in your personal life is what you do in your personal life. I don't hate you or judge you for that. You can do whatever you want in your own personal life. But I wonder, like, why does it sound like everyone who's trying to move us forward talks socialist type things? Like, we all have to be a part of this move forward.
I don't know.
Like, I mean, I get it. Like, respect people. I get it. I get respect boundaries. Everybody can do whatever they want. This is a free country. You're entitled to do whatever you want. But why am I forced to, why am I forced to that? Like, you know what I mean? I'm trans. Yeah. You're putting hate on me because I don't want to have sex with you. Like you're a man.
That doesn't make sense. Even if it was a woman.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not attracted, I'm not attracted. It has nothing to do with the phobia. I don't have an irrational fear of you.
Yeah, it's like wow, like I didn't even wow.
I see headlines like that sometimes, and I'm like, I don't even know what's happening right now.
Yeah, like
So,
I disagree.
I think it's conditioning. I think that's what they're doing. They're trying to condition the population to believe a certain way.
Gay people get offended by everything.
Yeah, that's true. It's not that difficult.
We respect the gay community, though. Just
yeah, I do. I don't care. Like, I have a sister that's gay. I have a cousin that's gay. I'm not concerned with that, but it's not that hard to offend them. I can say that. Like,
they're the easiest offended community.
Someone told me one time that there's no one easier to offend than black people, and I was like, that's not even close to true.
Right. Right. And honestly, let me say this too, because I'm going to speak for a lot of black people right now when I say this. I think that the black people that are offended are the college-educated black people. You see what I'm saying?
Kind of like the white liberal college-educated ones.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, like it's like if you go to the black community, right? I mean, don't yell out the N-word,
right?
Because we're not that far ahead yet. But like most of the black community that I come in contact with don't really have anything against white people. But when you turn on CNN, that's what it sounds. I don't want to say it sounds like that, but that's what it feels like. Everybody's like, oh, there's so much white privilege out here, and everybody's trying to like, I don't know how to explain it, like demonize white people. And if you go to that's not the topic. Yeah, but that's not the topic amongst black people. Like if you go into like any black community, that's not the topic. It's not the topic of white people being demons or anything like that. At least I don't hear it. I mean, I don't know.
I can't speak to that. I can speak to the fact that most of the people that are screaming the loudest about white privilege or male privilege or whatever are well-educated, and I use that term loosely, well-educated, upper middle class, white liberals. And I'm like, why are you trying to project your crap onto me, bro? I don't understand. If you want to say, hey, I'm racist and all white people are, it's like, no, you are. Right. But don't be trying to project that onto everyone, because that's not helpful, Yeah. And why are we listening to people that openly admit they're racist about race? That doesn't make sense to me.
I do find that weird too. I find that weird too.
Cool. Well, we're gonna have to wrap this up here. Maybe we'll do this again. I really appreciate you taking the time, man. And I'll message you again and look forward to talking with you again. This one's going up right away. No editing. It's just going up. I don't even care.
Okay. No, try to edit just in case for the cuss words.
I'll look through it and see, but I'm not gonna. I don't think there was too much cussing, so we're probably all right.
Yeah, for sure. It's always good talking to you, Josh.
All right, man. You have a good one.
That's your name, right?
No.
What's the name?
Austin.
Austin?
Yeah.
Oh, you never told me your name, did you?
Nope. I was like, cool. He gave me a new name. I like it.
We didn't have two conversations. Hold on. Here, Kay. Kay.
Hi, Kay. She don't care. She busy. Bye. Bye, guys. You have a good one.
All right, man.
Thanks, Cameron.
You're welcome,
Later, man.
Later.